Rita. This is where the bedroom scientists play. This is the one that made every biohacking group chat lose its mind simultaneously. The peptide people are calling Ozempic's terrifyingly effective older cousin. Here's the mechanism behind the hype. Most fat loss drugs hit one, maybe two, hormone receptors in your gut and brain to dial down appetite. Rita hits three at once, which is basically the difference between attacking a problem with one wrench and showing up with the entire toolbox. The result is appetite suppression so aggressive that people report genuinely forgetting food exists for hours, while fat burning ramps up in the background at the same time, so you're losing weight without the white-knuckle willpower fight everyone associates with dieting. In head-to-head trials, it's been outperforming semaglutide, the compound inside Ozempic, by a wide enough margin that pharma companies are scrambling. Here's the part worth knowing. It's currently working through phase 3 clinical trials, the final stretch before a drug gets fully approved, which is a genuinely good sign. Phase 3 means it's already cleared safety and effectiveness hurdles in smaller trials and is now being tested at scale. BPC 157. Think of your body as a race car and BPC 157 as the pit crew member sliding under the chassis with a wrench before you even fully register that something snapped. It's a repair-focused peptide, and its whole personality is fix this faster. Scrape a knee, tweak a shoulder, or feel like your stomach swallowed a blender, and this peptide appears to support blood flow to the damaged area and boost the cellular signals your body already uses to repair itself. It's not turning you into Wolverine, but something like that. It's nudging your recovery from slow-motion replay into fast forward. Athletes and lifters love it because nagging little injuries stop dragging on for months, and soreness seems to clock out early. Of course, it's not a green light to turn into a stuntman. You can't leap off a roof and expect BPC 157 to sweep in with a mop. Think of it like speed-boosted recovery, not invincibility mode. And while there's lots of positive early research, most of it is still on animals, so the science is promising but not complete. GHK-Cu. This is the one obsessed with the mirror rather than the scale, a copper peptide your body naturally produces in abundance when you're young and slowly stops making as you age, which is part of why skin loses its tightness and cuts take longer to heal the older you get. Topping it back up appears to boost collagen production, tighten skin, and speed up wound healing, and people run it both topically, rubbed directly onto skin, and through injections for a more full body effect. Scars, stretch marks, and general signs of aging are the usual targets, and there are enough reports of improved hair thickness that it's become a favorite of the anti-aging crowd, the group your yoga influencer aunt would absolutely be in if she discovered peptides. It's not going to hand a bald guy a full head of hair, but modest thickness improvements show up often enough that people keep talking about it. The topical version carries a different risk profile than the injectable version since one involves absorption through skin and the other involves direct injection, and research on both forms is still developing. TB500. If BPC 157 is the quick pit crew member, TB500 is the guy who shows up with a full engine rebuild kit. Your body naturally produces a repair protein whenever tissue gets damaged, and TB500 is essentially that same protein, delivered at levels your body could never hit on its own. The claim is that it doesn't just mask an old injury, it actually helps rebuild the underlying tendon, ligament, or muscle tissue, which is why people with the shoulder that's clicked for 2 years, or the knee that complains on every set of stairs gravitate toward it, chasing actual tissue repair rather than another round of ice and ibuprofen. And as things heal, you get your mobility back, flexibility improves, range of motion comes back. You're not just pain-free, you're moving better than you were before the injury. One quick note, if there's any cancer or tumor growth happening, stay away from this. It promotes cell repair, which is perfect for injuries, but not something you want if abnormal cells are involved. Tesamorelin, this one has an actual FDA-approved use, which immediately puts it in different territory than most of this list. It's prescribed specifically to reduce visceral fat, the dangerous fat that wraps around your organs. The mechanism is a growth hormone-releasing hormone analog, meaning it tells your pituitary gland to release more of your own natural growth hormone, rather than injecting synthetic growth hormone directly, which is generally considered a gentler approach than dumping exogenous hormones straight into your system. It's picked up a large following in the biohacking and physique world specifically for that visceral fat reduction effect, since stubborn abdominal fat is famously one of the hardest areas to target through diet alone. Real growth hormone elevation comes with real downstream effects, like better recovery and sleep for some people, and MOTS-C. This is the peptide that made scientists briefly obsessed with your mitochondria's secret side job. For decades, mitochondria were filed away as just the powerhouse of the cell from your high school biology poster, nothing more. Then researchers discovered mitochondrial DNA was quietly encoding its own small proteins, and MOTS-C is one of them, acting like a messenger that travels out of the mitochondria and into the rest of your cell to help regulate how your body handles glucose and stores fat. Early research suggests it may improve insulin sensitivity and metabolic flexibility, essentially helping your body use energy more efficiently rather than shuttling everything into fat storage, which is why why it's landed on the radar of the same longevity crowd chasing metabolic health as a proxy for slower aging. It's also being studied for potential exercise mimicking effects, activating some of the same cellular pathways that hard training does, which is exactly the kind of headline that gets clipped into a 15-second video with dramatic music. When dosed properly with other mitochondrial peptides, research has shown this to be one of the most effective peptides out there, KPV. This is the anti-inflammatory peptide nobody outside biohacking circles has ever heard of, and it comes from a surprisingly unexpected source. It's actually a small fragment cut from a much larger hormone your body already produces. Its specific job appears to be calming down inflammatory signaling, particularly in the gut, which has made it popular among people dealing with inflammatory bowel issues looking for something gentler than standard medication. Unlike most of the injectable peptides on this list, KPV shows up frequently in oral and topical forms too, since it appears to survive digestion reasonably well compared to most peptides, which typically get broken down before they can do anything useful when swallowed. The gut health and skin calming crowd has latched onto it hard, treating it as a quieter, less dramatic alternative to some of the more aggressive anti-inflammatory options out there. For many people, KPV is a staple. CJC1295. Rather than injecting growth hormone directly, this peptide takes the more indirect route, signaling your pituitary gland to release more of your own growth hormone naturally. Since growth hormone touches an enormous number of systems in your body, the reported benefits show up broadly rather than in one specific area. Better recovery, deeper sleep, more fat loss, and some muscle growth all at once. There are two common versions, one that lingers longer in your system so you inject less often, and one that clears faster, giving tighter control at the cost of more frequent dosing, and both are functionally doing the same job through a different time course. It's extremely commonly stacked with ipamorelin, since ipamorelin controls the shape of the growth hormone pulse cleanly without spiking cortisol or prolactin, two hormones you generally don't want trending upward. People use it for months without issues. It's also beginner friendly. The effects are noticeable but not overwhelming, and the risk of problems is low. That's why CJC and IPA is one of the most common peptide combos for anti-aging and body composition. And here's the part that surprises people. Peptides aren't some TikTok-era invention cooked up by a biohacker with a ring light. Soviet scientists were running peptide bioregulator research back in the 1970s, originally to keep cosmonauts functioning under the brutal stress of long space missions, and that research quietly continued in Russia for over 4 decades before the rest of the world caught on. And now here we are, decades later, and half the moms and dads at your kid's soccer game are reconstituting peptides at the kitchen counter next to the coffee maker, like it's just another part of the morning routine. Cold War laboratory to bedroom scientist. This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not promote, encourage, or glorify the use of peptides or any performance-enhancing substances. I am not a doctor, medical professional, or qualified to give medical advice. Peptides can carry risks, and research on many of them is still limited. If you are considering using any peptide or similar compound, always consult a licensed healthcare professional or medical expert first. Your health and safety come before anything else.